Cops coming. They're here. Shit. Guys. Cops. Hi.
Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about Buckshot versus Slug and what the differences are, and I'm just going to tell you straight up right away, Buckshot is going to be the one you're going to be picking pretty much every single time. Now before you click off, Slug does have some very strange and interesting interactions, which I will be going over. Some things I've noticed during testing, which I found really curious, but when it comes to Buckshot, a lot of the time, any type of limb shot in their general direction will be essentially the end of them. A lot of the time, if you shoot a target, you'll notice that that one was incapacitated, but when you come back, they will bleed out and they will die. So it is something to note where you have to like report them again, potentially just because you have to let them know that they're dead. And you will get less points, but it is an interesting interaction with Buckshot when it comes to any type of tissue damage. But when it comes to Slug with a lot of tissue damage, a lot of the time, Slug isn't super reliable. Obviously, if this was Buckshot and I shot him twice, I mean, I did miss the second shot, but he would die immediately versus having to bleed out. So they do have an opportunity to fight back when you do shoot them with Slug. It's not going to completely stop them. And then when it comes to Slug, obviously the appeal, generally speaking, was to be able to shoot through things. But honestly, sometimes it's a lot harder than it seems. And a shot here, like 2 shots, if you look very closely, I shoot his left arm and then I shoot his right arm because his arms are in front of his body holding his weapon, which makes sense. But if it was Buckshot, it only takes 1 shot. Now for Slugs, it is going to be very nice for accurate shots, but if you notice this is a really strange thing that I noticed with Slug. It's almost like stealth, like they didn't see me for some reason and they weren't aware of my presence. It was very strange. And obviously the big benefit of using Slug is for that penetration through various types of cover, and a lot of the time it wasn't super helpful. Like right there, a lot of the time I'd be able to shoot his shoulder, but I tried to like use as much penetration as I could with this type of weapon. I'm like, okay, there's a guy around this corner, let me try to shoot through the wall, and it would help occasionally, but a lot of the time you're letting go of the ability of Buckshot to just one-shot them if they are out in the open, because that's how most engagements are going to go. And with Slug here, as you can kind of see, like if you shoot a flurry of shots in a quick succession, you have a very high chance of missing because Slugs are single projectiles. So you're not going to be guaranteed very much chance of hitting the target, but with Buckshot, obviously it's going to be way better. And Slug does have more accuracy. So if you hit a target in a vital area, Slug, you know it's going to be exactly where you put it because it's a single projectile. And I want to show this strange interaction with the Slug. I was getting shot here, and I believe it was through, I'm not even sure where it was from, but I shoot through the wall through these 2 doors, right? Now, I wait for a bit. This is an uncut clip, and I'm like, okay, I don't know where he is. And then he's turned away, but he runs up to me backwards as if he heard something from far away. So I assumed the Slug impact hit a wall, and then he assumed that I was over there. It seems as if Slug has like a very small noise profile or something, and it also seems to like not affect their general stress levels, because a lot of time, and for Freddy or not, if there's a stress level that's high for enemies, when it goes higher and higher, they start to act more aggressively and push you and know where you are. And when it comes to Buckshot, I didn't notice this as much, but there was still a little bit of it. It was probably just because I was very quiet, not yelling, but it is anecdotal in some sense. But when it comes to Buckshot, you don't even need to aim a lot of the time if you have Buckshot, because it's over a spread. It's shooting multiple tiny little pellets per shot. So a lot of the time, if there's enemies, you can kind of just shoot without even aiming down your sights. And it's honestly, I tried using this for the majority of the level, and it was actually kind of amazing. And this is all on hard mode, by the way. Another great thing about Buckshot is that when you hit a target with armor, because Slug does not penetrate armor at all, basically. You're lucky if they have low armor on, and that's it. If you watch here, I shoot him. He doesn't have armor on, but he doesn't flinch. He doesn't die. Slug lacks that kind of actual immediate power. Although I did hit his arm and he's bleeding out and he's going to die eventually, Buckshot will stop him in his tracks and he will be dead. That is the big difference between using Buckshot versus Slug. I do recommend just taking Buckshot all the time, but if you want to have some fun with some Slug and maybe shoot through walls, be a little bit more proactive, you do have to be pretty aware that you're using Slug to really take advantage of it. But generally speaking, for everybody, Buckshot, what you're going to want to use all the time. So when it comes to muzzle brakes, there is a couple options. A lot of the time, you're just going to be taking this brake. It reduces vertical recoil, especially with this type of shotgun where it has a lot of vertical recoil. This can come in handy a lot. I'm going to show you the spread with this muzzle brake. So I'm just going to aim at the various locations that you normally would. I'm going to aim at the head. I'm going to aim to the right of the head, left of the head, center, bottom right, and the bottom left. Now, if we carefully look at the spread, a lot of the shots are pretty scattered. So this is the center shot. As you can see, it's quite sporadic where the concentration of pellets are. At the bottom, I was aiming at the very bottom right and the bottom left. You can see a couple pellets are hitting the target. And up here, sometimes it is just a weird concentration. It could also be from the center as well. But generally speaking, I was aiming in these specific locations, and you can kind of see their general spread. Now, something I want to note when looking at the spread choke, this one does not increase vertical recoil or anything, but because you're not using this one, which decreases vertical recoil, when you're using the spread choke, a lot of the time, you're going to have a lot more recoil, so you really need to be accurate with your shots. And in some sense, this makes you less accurate, because when you're using this break, you have a wider spread. You're more likely to hit a target. It's not always going to kill the target, not all the time, or more or less it will. If you want a smaller spread, which I'm going to be showing the comparison, spread choke will give you those opportunities for, let's say you're in a hostage situation and you don't want to swap to your secondary, which you should anyway, since it's very easy, you have a lot of time to do so. But if you want to use shotgun, spread choke, just take your time with per shot. If you are using this shotgun, spread choke is going to give it a lot of vertical recoil. Generally speaking, the best two shotguns, just because they're fully automatic, just because you can output the most damage, just because you can miss, just because they're forgiving. This shotgun is awesome as well. This is going to be one of the top tier shotguns, and this is going to be one of the top tier shotguns as well, just because why? They shoot fast, and put down targets faster, all that kind of stuff. These ones are still shotguns, and they function just like shotguns. And when it comes to various shotgun ammunition values, Supernova has 10, this one has 8, this one has 9, this one has 8, I believe as well. And I think this one has 10, and you can reload in a whole magazine all simultaneously. The ones you want to stay away from, generally speaking, not all the time, you can still use them if you want, are the pump ones, because obviously these ones are going to output more damage. They're going to be more forgiving. You can fire, you can miss, you can shoot quicker on the target again. And obviously the quicker you shoot, the more targets you can shoot at once. The less chances if you miss, you're not going to have to wait to pump your shotgun to fire off another shot. So these two shotguns are the best ones just simply because they are automatic shotguns versus these ones which are pump. Obviously there's the beanbag one, which is completely whatever. So when it comes down to the spread choke, when you're using the spread choke, a lot of the time it's just personal preference. I would recommend using this shotgun when you're using the spread choke, just simply because it doesn't have as much recoil as a baseline. The shotgun has a lot less vertical recoil compared to the other one. You can still use this one, but you just got to be very wary when you're shooting. It's going to be a very aggressive vertical recoil push, so you just got to be aware of that. So when it comes to using the muzzle break, that is the choke spread, aiming center, aiming at the head, the top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left. Now you'll see that the groupings are much tighter and much more consistent. So if you do get your mark on a target, you are going to 100% get all of those pellets on and do a good amount of damage and stagger them very likely. But honestly, I do still just recommend the other one, unless you're taking a hostage shot where you have to aim right, generally, because that's where the suspect is, the suspect's head. A lot of the time, that's where you're going to be shooting, just to take them out. A lot of the time, you can just swap to a pistol and fire just as quickly. It's not a big deal. That's usually why I will take this muzzle brake instead, just because it's going to be better when you're fighting actual enemies. Now, obviously, this is an issue too, because you can, because it is a wider spread, hit a civilian. So that is something you have to kind of be aware of. Usually I haven't found myself in too many situations where that's been the case, but generally speaking, what you're going to want to do in the end is pick an automatic shotgun. Honestly, you can pick a pump action, doesn't matter. But pick an automatic shotgun. Either one is definitely fine. This one reloads a little bit slower. This one does have one more shot compared to this shotgun, but this shotgun reloads much quicker, and it's semi-automatic, so people are going to want to use this one, generally speaking, more, but it does have much more vertical recoil. Just be aware of that. You are going to want to use this brake instead of the spread choke 99% of the time. If you'd like to have a bit more accuracy and always 100% sure if you're aiming that reticle at their arm, shoot, you're going to be 100% blowing off that arm and taking him out. You're using this one, it might be a little less likely, but still has a very, very high chance of stopping and killing that target immediately. Depending on the distance, only a few pellets might hit, so it might not kill them right away. But that's usually only at big, big distances. But that's it for the video. Thanks for watching and have a good day.